This transmission has been corrupted by Turkish Delight.
Hello YouTube, it's me, Turkish Delight, and I'm going to tell you about a very interesting little thing I discovered versus the PACHY, which is that if you time an alt bite at just the right time, you can actually completely avoid getting head fractured or leg fractured. Now the timing is a little bit tight, but once you kind of get, the timing right, it's pretty good. This timing is pretty much the same for every single dinosaur. It just looks different because of FOVs. But if you get the timing just right and you alt bite through them, you will completely avoid your leg or your head being fractured, and only your body gets fractured, which just means that you'll be taking the increased damage to your body. I'm fairly sure that's how that works. And you won't be crippled on the legs, and you won't have the blurry vision of your head. This is pretty bad for PACHY, because apparently the balance team has decided that PACHY hasn't suffered enough. It needs to suffer more. There is not enough water to wash away the blood on their hands. So yeah, as you can see here, after I get the timing just right, I can just do it back to back to back. It's insanely powerful. This also works with Cerrado and Omniraptor. It will work with PACHY versus PACHY. It works with Tenos, but Tenno has a different interesting thing that we'll cover about this in a moment. Why is this bad for PACHY? This is bad for PACHY because it means that a solo PACHY, I was saying before, in terms of balance, that while PACHY is gutted, it can at least leg fracture a Kano or a Cerrado and then just run away. With this thing currently, you can't even do that. You can't even leg fracture them. They'll just alt bite through you, which means you have no chance to run away. You will bleed out, you will die. It kind of just means that PACHY being able to leg fracture something and then run away as a defensive tool doesn't exist anymore, if you know this trick, which I'm hoping more people do, because then we'll get it patched out faster. The issue with patching it out is the fact that how I think it works is that because you are attacking while the head charge is slamming, your head, I don't know how the fuck it works actually. Haru seems to believe that it's because during the alt bite, the head no longer has a hurt box, only the body does, which therefore means that it bypasses the head's hurt box and then goes into the body. Another idea could be the fact that because you are moving the head in such a perfect way, it actually avoids the PACHY's hurt box completely for its head slam, so the only thing it can hit is your body, because your legs are too far away. This can also be devastating to a PACHY because you can actually get them stuck doing this. Not properly stuck, like they can't get out, but stuck as in like, once they're in, and you alt bite through them, your head is past their head. They don't have time to really properly react. You can just bite, they die. So it's disastrous. We also did a little bit of testing of fractures to help us out with the fracture resist diet, which in my opinion is completely useless because fracture resist is already really, really powerful. It takes 2 hits to the head for a Kano and for a Cerrado to be blinded. What there is now, however, is that during the first hit, your vision goes blurry. Not too blurry, but blurry. So I wonder if they're going to reuse this blurry asset thing for the Dilo's Venom, and then give it an extra tier where it ends up being like the PACHY sight after you get fully envenomated by the Dilo. Just a crackpot idea. That's the idea. So what else can we infer with this information? It takes 2 hits to the legs to leg break a Tenno and a Cerrado. I'm fairly sure it was for Kano as well. It was Kano 1. Doesn't matter. The point is, Cerrado and Tenno have very, very good fracture resistance. Kano has like a decent one. Omniraptor, of course, is you get hit, you're kind of down. But, this is where it happens. Given the fact that you can alt bite through the head slam as a Omniraptor, fuck it, who cares? It means that if you are caught unawares by a PACHY and you mess up, you can alt bite through them and actually then avoid the devastating slam. Which you can then follow up with a pounce, believe it or not. This reason why I'm trying to collate my thoughts as I'm going. As you can see on the screen, the Raptor timing is pretty difficult simply because your FOV is lower than Kano and Cerrado. But we do eventually do it. It doesn't actually even look like anything's really happened, but it's like it's a split second kind of thing. So, but it does work. Don't obviously do this as an Omniraptor as like a tech unless you really want to show off and you're really, really confident. I'll just say just avoid the PACHY normally. But if you're ever caught in a bad situation, like a pounce misses and they bring back the pounce stun, you know, where you slide on the ground and a Pachy comes up to head slam you, you can actually avoid this. But hopefully this gets patched out by the time we also bring back that nerf towards Omniraptor, because it needs it. The reason why I don't like this, but at the same time I understand this, is the fact that you can have two schools of thought about this, which is one, well, how often are you going to see players doing this? Fair enough. I quite like these arguments, which is, well, you're never going to see players doing this, which is fair. But put it this way, back when Legacy was a thing, on servers without not alt bites, well, it was technically alt bites, yeah, but you used to spin around in a circle and it was all funny. Back when that first started, how many people were really like, yeah, we're eventually going to see Omniraptors that just bite a Rex 50 times on the legs and completely avoid the hurt box? That's never going to happen. And what happens? Everyone tries to do it. Eventually, everyone learns about it, and everyone tries doing it. You see my point? It doesn't matter that not many people are going to do this. It's the fact that they can do this, and that needs to be addressed. Which then leads to a second issue, which is that you could argue that this is a very, very skilled thing for a player to do versus a Pachy. So should they be allowed to do it? Which I'm like, well, I guess technically yes, it is a skilled thing to do. You need to know about this for one, and you also need to know the timing, which is effectively muscle memory at that point, and then you need to do it. So, it's kind of like, But the fact that Serrado and Kano are now they just murk Pachy now. There's nothing for the Pachy to really do. You know, so I want to see it get patched out. I don't know how to do it. Maybe maybe it just, the head slam works such that it hits the closest. It might even just be an issue where the head isn't being targeted because of the alt bite, or because the head hurt box disappears during the alt bite or whatever. So if that can get patched out, this will be working. And if you try to do this trick with Kano and Serrado, you'll just get head slammed, which will therefore then be a fix. I'm fine with that. Now on to the interesting thing about Tenno, which is at the very end of the Tenno's tail actually counts as its body in terms of fractures, which makes it very, very difficult to hit the legs when it's alt biting. The Tenno can just alt bite forward, and it doesn't even need to do any directional stuff. It will always get body fractured, which is interesting. So if you're a Tenno and you're being harassed by Pachys, just alt bite forward, just alt bite towards them, you know, and just make sure that your head isn't being hit, and you'll kill them, you know. We then did experiments with the other Tenno attacks to see if tail slams and kicks did the same sort of thing. And it effectively just confirmed our idea, which is that the very lumpy bit at the beginning of the Tenno's tail somehow counts as its body for some reason. Which might also lead to a credence idea that actually what's happening during an alt bite is that the legs and the head don't become properly targetable by tail slams. Not tail slams, by head charges. Or it could just be that the Tenno's legs is just hard to get to. Either ways, summarize this little tip. If you're fighting as a Pachy, you can alt bite with the right timing through its head slam, and then only get a body fracture, which means you can run away, which means you can fight properly, which means you won't have your sights gotten rid of. Yeah, there's a sweaty tip for you guys. Enjoy. Rip Pachys. Hopefully next patch does justice to you guys, because Pachy needs it so much right now. I don't even want to play Pachy just to play test it, simply out of the fear that I will run against a Serrado or a Kano who knows about this trick, and then I just die. So it's annoying, effectively. So yeah, that's all. Story time's over.